telling you the truth. Hey, it's all in what you do. Hey, some things you gotta do. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, barbershop conversations, man. Feel free to subscribe, but don't forget to join the Patreon. Click the link in the description box, man. Let's jump on this, man. This actually should be a Patreon video, but guess what? I'm gonna give it to y'all. Money. We're gonna talk about money. And I was thinking about like old people in boxing, right? Old successful people in boxing. I was just thinking about it, right? And I was trying to think of the minorities that are successful in boxing. I'm talking about like as successful as they were, obviously in different capacities, because they're not fighting. They're fighting no longer. No longer fighting. And I was trying to, off the top of my head, think of some people that were, and I couldn't think of any. And then I started to think about minorities that are successful in boxing that never laced up a glove. And I thought of obviously Sam Watson, Al Heyman, and those are the ones I could think of off the top of my head. But the reason why Don King, Bob Arum, Lou DiBella, the Hearn family stay in business is because no matter where they are, they're always investing in the future. They always investing in the next hot prospect. They always going to the Olympics, going to Olympic trials, going to nationals, Golden Gloves, and the list goes on. And I wanted to tell the fighters, young promoters, whatever capacity you are in boxing, you got two options. Either you're going to invest in what you were, or you're going to invest in what you hope and pray or working towards becoming. And what I mean by that is every dollar you make is an investment tool. Every penny you make is a tool for investment, And I think that boxers got to fully grasp and understand that. And I know we're at the genesis of boxing in its totality on a macro level, it's a poor man's sport. And what I mean by poor man's sport, maybe they tried basketball, maybe not. Maybe they tried track, maybe not. But boxing is the tool in which the family hopes to find a way out of their impoverished situation. Financial circumstances. And in some cases it works, in some cases it doesn't. And I just want fighters to grasp the understanding that every dollar is an investment tool. I know we're going to go through phases where we want the Gucci belt, we want the beautiful cars, which will, excite you about getting a beautiful woman, going to exotic places, beautiful places. But in the end, you want to be as successful in your 20s that you are in your 30s. You want to be more successful in your 40s than you were in your 30s. You want to be more successful in your 50s than you were in your 40s, and so on and so forth. And how you do that is make a proper investments, because I'm going to tell you fighters this. Understand what I'm coming. You will never, ever get a check bigger than what you made in the ring on a macro level. You understand? And I used the Mike Tyson example earlier. Mike Tyson is chasing checks, and he's the front man for a lot of businesses. We see him promoting, and the list goes on and on. We heard Muhammad Ali sold the rights to his name, and so many different fighters have lost fortunes. Rick Ross bought Evander Holyfield's mansion, I believe. 50 Cent bought Mike Tyson's mansion in Connecticut, I believe, or Catskills, wherever it's at. And I believe that if we go in with the mindset that this check that I'm making, I'm going to use it as an investment tool. You know, making children is not just preparing for your it's not just the only way to prepare for your future and or build legacy. It's building and creating and buying tactile examples. Now when you starting off, you're probably only making $5,000. You know, maybe you build an online business, maybe you open up a barbershop, maybe you lease a space for art, shoes. I don't know. I don't know what's in your life, but I know everyone has the entrepreneur spirit in them. You know, whether it gets bogged down by bills or whether it gets bogged down by the necessity or fear. You know, but I genuinely believe everyone has the entrepreneurial spirit in them. And what you do in your 20s will be very loud in your 30s. What you do in your 20s and 30s will be so loud in your 40s. You know, that voice of regret, that voice of wow, I'm on the right page, that voice of damn, I shouldn't have had kids with this woman, that voice of maybe I made the right decision of having kids with this woman. And the list goes on and on. We all have these silent conversations with ourselves, you know. Um, um, and so I just want fighters to understand this. I don't care on what level you're fighting, you're garnishing a check, you know. And if you're fortunate enough to make the six figures and shit the seven figures, um, consider yourself rare. But when you're making $10,000 and $20,000, you know, on these undercard fights, you know, invest that. You know, I'm serious, man. Um, I would rather sleep in my car than pay rent with that $20,000 that I got paid. I'm being honest. If I'm a single man, shit, I would pay rent up until that. The moment I got that $20,000 check, I'm buying $1,000 car, maybe a Toyota Previa or some shit like that, 1990 something Toyota Previa. Sleep in the back of that hoe, paid by $1,000 for that car, and have that $19,000 to invest for my future. You know, that's a type of focus and discipline that it may take on your end, because it's so easy to go buy a $500 Gucci belt and be cool. It's so easy once you win a fight to go spend $2,000 on a table at your strip club, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that those aren't things that I don't desire to do. Those are not things. Yeah, you guys know what I mean. I desire to do. Those are things that I find joy in. I find happiness in. You know, um, being able to throw around expository income. You know, in addition to that, um, make sure you're drawing that money from an asset. And a lot's going on in boxing, right? But one of the premises or core principles of boxing for these fighters and young promoters and is to build legacy. Is to create capital to build legacy. And on the journey of building capital and legacy, you're gonna have to make tough decisions. Do I go get this $300 steak? I done paid for $300-$400 meals with fighters, and um, you know, I sponsor a few fighters in my gym. Not the whole camp, but just a fraction of it, you know. And um, you know, I know the sacrifices that these fighters make, and it's unnatural. It's unnatural. And I would love nothing more. There are a few things out there, a lot of things I would like more, but um, to shake a fighter's hand and realize that he has rental property. Um, he's happy. He owns his own barbershop. He owns a hair salon. He owns an art gallery. He owns a boxing gym. You know, he's a congressman. He's a lawyer, doctor. You know, a massage therapist. He owns his own practice. I don't know. There's boundless, endless things that we can do. But what I don't want to see, And what I don't like seeing, and this is why you didn't see me interview Tommy Hearns, who walked by me 30 times. And I'm not saying I'm not. I was just I just wasn't in that space because when I looked at him, there was a piece of me that felt sorry for him. Whether that was wrong or right, it was the emotion that evoked out of me when I saw him walking through the MGM, and I had I saw many fans clinging on to him, taking selfies, and um, I saw an older man every day losing and losing and losing his motor skills. I was at his birthday party about a year ago here in Los Angeles. We had an event for him, and I saw him for this fight, and I also saw him for the Tony Harrison fight. And every year, it seems like he's it's in my TV room. All right, the front room, yeah. And um, if I just don't want that for fighters. You're obviously gonna have some brain mem. You let's be clear, fighters, you're gonna have brain damage. You're gonna have memory loss. You're gonna have headaches. You're gonna have um, physical ailments that I will never ever have. You're gonna have. We'll just say war wounds. You're welcome. All right, thank you. All right, and I just I just want the best for fighters, man. And I know I speak loud and proud for my black fighters, and I'm very close to a lot of Latino fighters. I train in a predominantly Mexican gym, you know what I mean, and I have great affinity for these men, and I see what they go through three or four times a year because they haven't made it to the main event stage yet, so they're fighting quite a bit, fighting in Mexico, coming back and taking 3 weeks off, and then got to cut weight again, and I see the journey that they on, and I support them. And I'm looking at this from a mature 42-year-old man uh, who's comfortable in terms of his physical space and have made some really good investments. And I just pray that they see me and be inspired. They see me and know that it's possible. And and I know sometimes we come on here kind of arrogant and well me shit. Sometimes I come on here kind of arrogant and speak loud and proud and about some of the successes that I've accomplished. You can see them on the wall behind me, but those are just man made. That's just those mean minimal. But that Malcolm X thing means a lot. Malcolm X portrait means a lot to me. It's one of one, by the way. And um, um, I just want fighters to see the bigger picture. You know, I don't spend a lot of personal time with fighters. I try not that I try not to. I just don't. I know. Obviously, you guys know. I know basically every A-level fighter in boxing on some level, small, big, medium, or large. Um, and I just hope that they make the right decisions in their personal life, like Mexican, black. I mean, I obviously care about minorities and Asian. You know, um, but this is just like the sermon of the day. Matter of fact, I might do a Sunday sermon. I might title this a Sunday sermon. Uh, yeah, man. I just want fighters to be successful because I don't want to see Tommy Hitman Hearns. I don't want to see any more of those, man, who I assume made millions. You know, he is one of the 10 names some of the only 10 names that I knew in boxing, when I was, you know, does he own the rights to 3 rounds of hell? Do he own the rights to that, or does Top Rank own them, or Don King, or you understand what I'm saying? Do Marvin Hagler own the rights? Do Sugar Ray Leonard own the rights? Or do ABC and the White World of Sports? Or, what I mean? Bob Arum was smart enough to own the rights to a lot of these fights, and he leases them out internationally and makes millions of dollars doing it. He has a catalog of fights that if you show 10 seconds of it, you got to pay them, you know? So along, there's so many different ways that these fighters need to understand how to make money. Do Manny Pacquiao own his masters? They're going to be playing Manny Pacquiao fights in these Asian countries for hundreds of years. Will the Pacquiao last name inherit, inherent, or get those checks, you know? So, I mean, these are just questions that I have, and I just hope um, that all these fighters, you know, because boxing starts from a humbling place, you know. Maybe you were bullied, insecure, or maybe you were a good fighter in the streets, and mom and dad said, you know what, or mom and dad said, you know what, we need to take our son or daughter to the gym, and next thing you know, they're fighting on Showtime. Two-time Olympic gold medalist Carissa Shields, you know, or you're 21 years old and you walk into a gym in Alabama because you're literally searching for a way to support your daughter. The next thing you know, 13 years later, you're making 20, $30 million on Fox. You know, it's possible. Be smart though. Be intelligent. Be wise. And I hope that this video hits someone to the core, because everybody that watches this video knows someone in boxing. You know what I mean? And that's how I've met a lot of people in boxing, is through subscribers. Send this to your favorite fighter. You know, Shakur Stevenson is fighting this week, and I think he is a fucking phenom. Obviously, you just saw my son. They look similar features. I have a silent admiration for Shakur Stevenson, not just because he's a great fighter and he's a fighter and he's from Brick City, which is across the river from New York City, and he's an Olympic silver medalist. But he looks like my son. So when I see him, I see a lot of my son, you know, charming, bold, handsome, good looking, charming, you know, every adjective I give him, I may give my son a little bit more, but you know, I'm just filibustering right now. But anyways, man, I just wanted to say this is Sunday sermon. So this is the word of the day. Get your assets up. You either investing in yesterday or you're investing in tomorrow. You know, I've had many conversations with fighters in private, and I always tell them, one of the core things I tell them is please invest. Please invest, man, because you know what I mean, it's man, it's a good life whether you're making $30,000 or $300,000 or $3 million, knowing you ain't got to work for nobody, man. Knowing that you're getting it on your own, man. You know, like I'm just being 100 with y'all, man. Shit. So barbershop conversations, man. You guys have a splendid day. Happy Sunday, y'all. We going live tonight, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Tune in. Shout your city out, man. Click the link in the description box. Join the Patreon, man. I think it's just incredibly important that we inspire and encourage everyone in boxing and in real life to make great investments, because you're either investing yesterday or you're investing in tomorrow. Barbershop conversations. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.